Welcome to the Great Basin Prescribed Fire and Smoke Transport Briefing for Monday, December 1st. Currently, we still have prescribed fire ongoing across the Great Basin, although not as much as a couple weeks ago, but still across Utah, Idaho, and into Nevada. Over the last 7 to 14 days, we've seen fairly dry conditions over the northern half to two-thirds of the Great Basin with below normal precipitation, although we have had some new precipitation up north in the last 7 days. Further south in southern Nevada, southern California, and Arizona, this precipitation was almost 2 weeks ago. Over the last 72 hours, we have had new precipitation and snowfall move across the Great Basin from northwest to southeast, mainly affecting parts of Idaho and Wyoming, but more so down into the higher elevations of Utah, especially into central and southeast Utah, where we've seen anywhere from 4 to 6 or 6 to 8 inches of new snowfall in the higher elevations. Otherwise, dry conditions persist over the western half of the Great Basin. And no surprise that the snowpack with these drier conditions is well below normal across the northern half of the Great Basin. We did peak to about normal or just above normal in parts of the Sierra, but that has since tapered off with the drier conditions, and we have seen some new snowfall over the southern areas, pushing some of these regions to near normal for the time of year, which is still relatively on the low side. Our satellite image from this morning shows high pressure off the west coast with general northerly flow across the Great Basin, which is ushering in some moisture from the north, with some showers up into Idaho and Wyoming today. So looking at the weather pattern for today, again with that ridge off the coast, we are getting some systems move in from the northwest, bringing some precipitation to Idaho today, although it will be fairly on the light side, and drier conditions to southern areas. Otherwise, winds will be on the lighter side with poor dispersion across much of the northern half of the Great Basin. You can see from the transport winds, really the only gusty winds are over parts of Wyoming into northern Utah. Otherwise, mixing heights remain low to moderate. Looking at temperatures, we will be near normal across much of the Great Basin today with highs in the 50s across western Nevada and up into the 40s and upper 30s into Idaho and into northern Utah. Relative humidity will still remain on the high side. Even in some of the drier spots will only drop to between about 18 and 20%. As we move into Tuesday, we will have another system dropping down from the north, mainly affecting Idaho, Wyoming, and Utah, and parts of northeast Nevada, with still keeping drier conditions in the western side of the Great Basin. This will kick up the winds, especially over the northern half of the region, so we will see improved dispersion. However, still poor dispersion over southern areas where the winds will remain light. You can see that on the transport winds, any of the gustier winds will be over the northern half of the region, and mixing heights will remain low. Temperatures will still remain near normal in most areas over the eastern half of the Great Basin and above normal over western areas, where we'll see highs in the upper 50s. Relative humidity will remain much higher in the north as we get more moisture dropping down across Idaho, Wyoming, and Utah, and will remain low in southern Nevada. As we move into Wednesday, this system drops further south into the central Rockies, so we will continue to see precipitation and gusty winds over the eastern side of the Great Basin, and that will improve dispersion. You can see those gustier winds on the transport winds, mainly over the southern half of the region, and mixing heights will improve quite a bit over the southern and eastern areas. Temperatures will cool on Wednesday as the system drops south, so we will see some below normal temperatures with highs only in the 30s in parts of Utah and into western Wyoming. We will even see cooler temperatures over western Nevada, where we'll see temperatures with highs drop back down into the mid-40s in the valleys. So although we won't see any precipitation in western areas of the Great Basin, we will see at least some cooling temperatures with this system. Otherwise, relative humidity will increase in all areas. The 3-day precipitation, you can see this system obviously affecting the eastern half of the region. We will see some lighter precipitation in central Nevada and a little bit heavier in northeast Nevada in spots, but really the bulk of the precipitation will occur from Idaho down into Utah and Wyoming. And we will see some new snowfall again in the higher elevations of those areas. As we move into later in the week, the ridge still dominates off the west coast, so we'll continue to see systems come into the Great Basin from the northwest. And the next one will affect the area late in the week, going into the weekend, bringing another round of precipitation, again, mostly to the eastern half of the region, leaving western areas on the dry side. And these systems will continue to affect the region going into the weekend. So looking at the week, or later in the week, for Thursday, Friday, again, precipitation mainly affecting Idaho, Wyoming, and northern Utah. The system will be a little bit heavier than what we'll see earlier in the week, so we will see more additions to the snowpack and lower elevation snowfall as well from this system. And looking at the next 7 days, again, the bulk of the precipitation affecting the higher terrain of central and eastern Idaho into Wyoming and northern Utah, which is where the higher elevations will see the most amount of new snowfall. We will see some precipitation maybe late in the period as the flow turns more westerly into parts of the Sierra, but again, that will be very light. The 8 to 14-day outlook still keeps above normal temperatures across the Great Basin and really all of the West, and the better chances of above normal precipitation will occur from Idaho into Wyoming and northern Utah, keeping southern areas on the dry side and below normal. That concludes our webcast for today. Check back on Wednesday for the latest updates.